We're back
We're back
at
in
it.
action.
Oh my gosh. 2 months.
The return.
The return.
We've all been waiting for.
Roberto, right?
Alberto?
Oh,
Yeah,
Alberto.
Alberto.
Oh, Jesus.
We do that all the time.
Oh, yeah?
And
Dang
I'm
it.
not fazed by it anymore.
my good buddy Roberto.
Yeah.
He's like, no, not at all. Alberto.
Stepped up.
Shout out to Alberto. Yeah. Awesome, man. You guys did an episode during my hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's worth noting, but I was taking care of a bebe.
Child.
A newborn child. So you and I have not been in these seats for 2 months.
It's been a while.
2 months.
A lot to be said.
Oh my gosh, so much to be said.
Cram in 2 months in an hour.
If you think that I slowed down in my movie and show watching,
Probably ramped up, if anything.
ramped way
Probably
up.
ramped up, if anything.
Way up. You know what you do when you're holding a baby while they are sleeping?
For 3 hours?
You watch a movie and a show.
You could do
And
both.
then a movie again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do both.
You just go for it. So
you just missed theater
quite a
stuff
bit.
then. Was probably
yeah,
the main
that was
thing.
that was the biggest thing, is I just missed whatever was theater exclusive, right?
Still not a lot.
No, not a lot at all.
No.
Not a lot at all. Though I did get out there. We'll discuss that when we get to it. So I want to go through before we get going on that topic of me watching stuff. I prepared a little something for today.
A little speech?
Little speech. I'm so
Interesting.
happy.
Wow.
I'm so happy to be back.
I'm nervous. I didn't prepare
Don't be nervous.
speech.
Don't be nervous. No.
I didn't prepare anything.
I composed a little list.
Okay.
These are movies Sam saw on paternity leave.
Okay.
Okay. And
Number one.
Number one. So this is in order in which I saw them, just so everyone knows.
Okay.
Okay. In order of their release. I believe, maybe not in order of release, but in order in which I saw them.
Do I need to do anything with it or just listen?
No, you can respond. You can respond. I'm going to say, so essentially I'm going to go down the list. I'm going to give you 1-sentence reviews of everything I saw. Since I wasn't here, I missed out. We're not going to backtrack and review something.
Yeah.
We'll probably do one or
quick,
two.
Quick. All right.
Rapid fire review. You ready?
All right.
Boss
I'm ready.
Baby. Family Business. Not a bad sequel.
Okay.
Good kids movie. Okay.
Solid.
Black Widow.
Bummer.
Doesn't matter because Disney and ScarJo are never working together again.
Yeah.
So my opinion on this doesn't matter.
Breakup of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Gunpowder Milkshake.
I think I liked it more than you.
Almost a great movie. Almost. Karen Gillan, not ready to be an action star. That's all I have to say about that. Really good time, though. Space Jam: A New Legacy. You definitely enjoyed that movie more than I did.
Skip it.
Yeah, huge disappointment.
All of you.
Huge disappointment. Should have just left well enough alone, I think.
Yeah.
Should have just left well
Not
enough
a-
alone. Yep.
Ugh.
Jungle Cruise. Man. I was pleasantly surprised with Jungle Cruise. It was more fun than I thought it was going to be. I
Okay.
had no high hopes. I had no hopes for this movie. And it was a fun adventure movie. I'm actually glad they're making another one.
Wow.
I will say.
I have not seen it.
Oh, yeah?
I have not.
Oh, you should. It's really cool.
Okay.
It's a really fun movie.
Okay.
Yeah. The Suicide Squad. Wow. I will say the best movie I probably saw on paternity leave. Other than, probably one of
Best
the
movie
better.
of the year?
Not best movie of the year, but
Best
probably
movie in the last 2 months.
the most fun I had watching a movie in a very long time.
We haven't even talked about that.
Up to
Interesting.
that point.
Got
Up
it.
to that point. Vivo. I don't know if you saw Vivo, animated kids movie.
Vivo Las Vegas?
Vivo Las Vegas.
No.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
No, I did not see it.
Animated
Yeah.
Netflix movie. Real fun. We have been jamming to the soundtrack. and
Really?
I think that
Awesome.
says it all.
Cool.
That says it all. Paw Patrol movie.
A lot
Is
of
the la-
controversy.
It's the last one that I saw. Apparently, there's some cancel culture coming
Some
after.
heat.
But I will say
Coming
this.
for a child's movie.
I will say this, though. Better action in that movie than in some live action movies.
Probably. Black Widow.
And then yeah. We don't need a review of
Yeah,
Black Widow
yeah.
anymore.
I'm just thinking of a movie.
There's going to be a Black Widow too.
Nah.
But
God.
I really good. The last movie I have on here is Shang Chi,
Shang.
and I think we should dive right in.
All right, because we
our
have,
movie
I have
review.
we didn't talk about it at all.
No,
Complete
no.
silence leaving the theater.
So again, I just want to mention that was my return to the theater.
Big return.
Big return.
Great way to go back.
Yeah.
Great way.
I honestly think that this, in my opinion, and you might disagree with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
One of the better MCU movies.
Okay.
I think, in my opinion,
Out
one
of
the
25 or whatever.
Yeah, I would put it. I mean, it's hard, right? Because I'm like, well, I haven't seen Iron Man in 10 years, so I don't remember all the feels it gave. Actually, I do remember Iron Man, but I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the movies, but yeah, I think it's so funny because, again, not to bring up Black Widow and review that movie, but I'm like, these movies are on two different levels.
Yeah.
You could see
not in the same realm of
no. Like Shang Chi makes Black Widow look like a streaming movie.
Yeah.
It's so
an Amazon
you really
Prime movie.
Yeah. You really do see where Disney or Marvel was putting their efforts, right?
Correct.
You can really tell right off the bat, oh, they cared more about this movie than that movie. And I think that's interesting. I think that's really interesting.
I think it shows we literally had to give you a movie because you kept asking and we needed to shut you up. For Black Widow. That's what it was.
And then they still didn't shut her up.
Yeah. They're like, we just need to shut you guys up, stop asking about it, and here.
Yeah. I do think
that's all it was.
Yeah, I do think there was a level of people keep saying we need this movie, so let's make this movie.
But Shang-Chi, liked it?
Loved it.
Okay.
Loved Shang-Chi.
Okay.
So much. And I think that all of the things I was worried about, and because again, it's like, how much did I expect from this movie to begin with versus what it actually delivered to me, right? I think I expected this movie to not be good.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything about the character. And then, again, I didn't know how much Marvel was backing it. Because it's an unknown character, right? Usually, you don't put all the money into an unknown character.
Which is smart.
Yeah, because you're worried it's not going to pay dividends in the long run. So you don't invest in an unknown character like that.
Okay.
And I don't think that happened at all. I think they were all in on this character. And I'm going to mess up his name. Simu.
I've been saying it. Simu.
The lead actor.
Yes.
I was also pleasantly surprised. I thought he did a phenomenal job.
He was the one I had a lot of faith in. Didn't know anything about him. I had a lot of faith in him.
But
from the little amount of research I had done.
While we're on the acting, though, his dad, who I guess is actually a really famous,
big time. Apparently,
yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know all the actors in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
When I came out and I did my post-movie research,
right,
big time.
Yeah,
big time guy.
Didn't know that.
Yeah,
had zero clue that he was a world-renowned actor.
Yes. Yeah.
Not big in the U.S., so we didn't.
And then that's totally okay.
Yeah, but my God, can that man act?
And really, I don't want to say believable, but like relatable almost. You're like, I understand you.
Well, and I want to talk once we get into the story review. I'll talk about him as a villain. I think Marvel choosing him as a villain was a really smart move for story purposes. But I wanted to ask you about a specific actor.
Okay.
How did you like Awkwafina?
Oh, she didn't bother me at all.
Really?
No.
No kidding.
No.
I know you had reservations.
I did 100%, and a lot of people did too, which I was kind of happy to find out. But she didn't bother me. She was fine. Actually, I don't want to say enjoyed her. I was okay with having her there.
Okay.
I felt, at a certain point she was very important.
Yeah.
But I didn't need the things that weren't there. So all the all the stuff that I was like, yep, I'm going to get this. There's going to be a moment and they're going to be talking about family and how important it is and everything, the repercussions this is going to have on our family. And then Awkwafina is going to poke her head in from the background and say some nonsense in a moment where it doesn't need it.
That's what you were afraid of.
And that's what I was afraid of. And that didn't happen. And I was like, oh, cool. She's fine.
Awesome.
That's great. The jokes she said were funny. I felt that times fell into place. That's the time you would have made a joke in real life, and I was fine with it.
And she actually,
which was awesome because I was
you were
going in hot, like
and she actually gets less jokey.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Right. As it gets the movie gets more serious.
There's one moment, and we'll probably talk about it later, where something happened with her, and I was gonna be mad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think she was gonna get powerful?
No, I thought she was gonna be the one to save everything.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, really? Her one arrow is gonna be the one that does it?
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, okay.
That's not true. But then when it happened, I was like, okay, it wasn't. Like it was a distraction more than anything. I was like, fine.
So I agree. At that point, I was also worried, but I gotta say, there wasn't a lot in this movie, even from the very beginning. There wasn't a lot in this movie that I was complaining about in my head.
Oh, no.
Right? I wasn't like, oh man, that was a bummer. Kind of in my head, kind of like docking points off as I watched the movie.
No,
right?
That's true.
There wasn't a lot of that going on in my own brain, and maybe on a second run through, I could be more picky about it.
Yeah.
But if a movie can distract me enough that I'm not even in my own head, trying to dock points off, I think it's doing its job.
Exactly.
And so I give it all the credit in the world for being a fun, entertaining, action-packed movie. Some of the best kung fu fighting that I've
which I love
ever seen in a movie.
Love.
My goodness, it was
Yeah.
so good. The choreography was
flawless.
So again, just a great job overall. And I do have some issues with one part of the story.
Okay.
But if we start at the beginning, I gotta say I love that they threw us into his life as an adult.
As a normal guy.
And we sort of discover his secret with Awkwafina, right? We're along for the ride because we don't know what's going on.
We don't know who he is yet.
And I normally pick on movies right off the bat when they throw us into a flashback. But this movie actually did flashback scenes
throughout the movie
better than other movies usually do. In my opinion, I think that they weren't giving us flashbacks so that we could care about something that was about to happen. It was to explain, I guess, character development that had already occurred, right?
Yes.
So we already see. So, for example, we could have seen Sean at that time. It was Sean and I forget what Awkwafina's character's name is.
Kayla?
Is it Kayla?
Yeah, I think it's Kayla.
Like we could have seen them on the bus, and then we could have done a flashback sequence to him training and learning all the karate, right?
Whatever.
And then jump back into the story, and then we see him fight because the movie is like, I want you to believe that he can fight. Right.
Yeah.
So and a lot of movies get worried about that. A lot of movies are like, oh, I want to explain it before it happens so that people
when it does happen,
yes,
you're caught up.
This movie did it first, right? First he comes out and we see him fight, and then it goes back and says, like, let me tell you how that happened.
Yeah.
And I like that better.
Okay.
Because I'm like because it seems cheap when the movie's like, I'm going to try to earn your emotion versus earning the emotion and then going. It doesn't seem like it's forced after that.
It doesn't seem genuine.
Yeah, it seems off
Okay.
whenever they're like force feeding it to you.
Yeah.
To make sure you enjoy it, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Versus like, I'm not going to say anything about the meal at all. And then when you're done with the meal, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Right. That's what it kind of seems like to me. If that,
I like that.
If
I like
that analogy,
I like that approach.
Yeah. If that analogy makes more sense.
Okay.
To what I'm saying. So don't tell me anything about the food to make me enjoy it more. Let me eat it first, and then you can tell me about it. That way you get my actual opinion.
I can tell myself if I really liked it or not.
Exactly.
If I only liked it because you told me I had to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of movies go the other way, so I like that this movie did it the reverse. But yeah, what did you like about Shang Chi?
So I had one thing.
Okay.
Going into it, and I knew nothing about it. I had heard the name, and that was it.
Yep.
But I've heard a ton of names.
Sure.
Of a ton of different characters.
Yep.
And I said, if I watch this movie and I come out of it and now I'm a fan of him, or I want to be him, or I want to buy a shirt of him, or I want to buy a comic book of him, if I can do that, I'll know I've enjoyed this movie. If I get out of the movie and I'm like, well, yeah, it's cool. It's another character. It's something else they're throwing in the mix, and that's all fine and good.
That makes sense.
But I came out of it. I was like, well, now I got to go buy a shirt. I got to go buy a comic book. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. And I'm like, they did it.
They
did it.
They achieved it.
And that's what made me so excited.
All right.
Because that's what I want. I want to discover a new superhero that I don't know.
That's a good way to measure it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read the same ones and the same stories and things before.
Right.
But now there's a new one I might want to pick up and enjoy and learn about.
Yeah.
And they did that.
Which is,
and a lot of it was awesome. The actor, Simu Liu. A lot of it was him. I was like, I really like you.
Yeah,
I agree. Care about you.
I agree.
I care about your backstory. I care about your emotions and the things that you're feeling.
I agree.
And that, to me, was the biggest thing, is they were able to make me, after 2 hours and 15 minutes, care about something I could have given a shit about 2 hours ago.
Right. Yeah, you knew zero.
I knew nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And at the end of it, now I care. Now I'm invested. Now I'm excited. Now I'm talking about sequels.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to learn about his family and Kayla and everybody else that I came across, and his sister and all that stuff.
Right.
And I was ready. And that was the biggest tell for me, because I love kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I do. That's why I was going to see it. I wasn't going for the superhero.
Right.
I was going for the history and the
MCU movie aside.
Yeah, MCU aside, the Asian culture and the way they do things and the way they train people and how different it is. That's what I was going for. But at the end of it, I was like, cool, new superhero.
You're like, now
I'm excited now. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree. If a movie, it's like a musical, right? If you see a musical and you play the soundtrack going home, like, it did its job.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And so, like, same thing. If it can make me go home and read a comic book, I think I agree with you.
And it had all the aspects of things I liked.
Yeah.
Like when his dad was talking to Kayla, it's like, well, what's your Chinese name? What does it mean to you?
Right. That's huge.
Like, that's what makes, that's the part of the Chinese culture and the kung fu movies that I like. Because I'm like, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about how important. And Kayla was like,
yeah, she was thrown out too.
I don't know. I have no idea.
She sort of played like the American version of
exactly
of everyone.
But they
right?
hit those points in the Asian culture that I really enjoy, that make me like watching their movies.
Yeah, I agree.
So I still got what I went there for, and I got something else. So it was two birds with one stone. I left satisfied, but I got even more than what I needed.
That's awesome.
So I was super excited.
I completely agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. If it makes you a fan, it did its job. Mm-hmm. I gotta say though, and you made a good point. MCU movie aside, and I always harp on this, the story of this movie is good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a superhero movie.
It's
right. It's
not.
Yeah, and if Marvel did not play the title card in the front, you would have known that it was a Marvel movie, right? No, I don't think so. I understand that's how origin stories are, but I'm just saying that you could have completely not told anyone that this was a superhero movie, and nothing in this movie makes you think that he's a superhero.
No, there's really, really not.
And I love that. Because he's movie, he's not
a superhero.
Yeah, it's not until the very last minute that he becomes
also a good origin story.
Right, I love that.
That's how it should be.
And so the story, I think, is also assisted by his dad, who is the villain. But
sometimes he's not even the villain.
Yeah, so a villain that you're kind of like, I think I would do the same thing, is a really good villain, because what is he trying to do?
What are you going to do? Not save your wife?
Exactly. The whole time he's trying to save the love of his life. Like, that's all he's doing. He's like, I would have done. I love her so much. I don't care that there's a beast that's going to destroy the world behind this wall. If she's behind there, I'm getting her.
I'll burn down a whole city for my fake wife I don't have. 100%.
Exactly.
You're all gone.
And I'm like, you know what, dude? I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And if that makes me a villain, us chasing after what we are passionate about and with blinders on can make anyone a villain. And I
100%.
love that this love that he had for his wife was so strong.
His family
he had blinders.
Yeah.
And that made him a villain.
And he really didn't know.
Yeah, he did.
He had no idea.
He was literally hearing the voice of his wife.
Yeah.
Right? So to him, it was as real as her in the room, as
exactly.
he said, right?
So I get it. And again, that's not something you can do in another superhero movie that I don't think represents the way the Asian and the Kung Fu and that whole thing works.
Gotcha.
That's only in that realm.
It's tied into that.
To the way they live their lives and the way they view things.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that's why I think I gave him a pass almost.
Yeah, I think.
I'm like, yeah, all right.
You're like, I get it. As a villain, you're like, I get you, man. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, but seriously, a villain that is almost not a villain, I think is the best villain that you can have. Yeah. And you did an awesome job. So my only complaint about this movie.
I wonder if it's the same one. Probably not. Because I have a complaint too.
You have a complaint too? Again, it's story-wise. It's not.
Then probably not.
It's not really. It's like something visual. It's not really. It's just when they're writing the story, someone said we have to get them from A to B. How do we get them from A to B? Okay. And it's when they throw them into jail. Okay. And they are thrown into
yes, the dungeon.
The dungeon. Yeah, dungeon.
I was thinking of like a
sorry.
Of like a jumpsuit.
Sorry. No, they were thrown in the dungeon, right?
And that's when
and they meet the guy. They meet the fake Mandarin.
And we were the only people in the theater that actively shouted.
We were like, "Oh my!"
Me and Sam with a theater full of people were like, "Oh my god!" And everyone's like,
"What?
What?" Like. And I'm like, nobody else is shocked.
I know.
Nobody. And I was like,
everyone knew.
Yeah, everyone
that Sir
knew.
Ben Kingsley was in this movie.
No, get out of here.
You're lying to yourself if you thought he was in this movie.
But it was so spot on.
It was
awesome.
hilarious.
It was great.
So I was thoroughly shocked that he was in. I was like, oh my gosh,
I was pumped. But I'm like,
awesome.
Wrap up that story.
So
kind of.
What bugged me is that they used him and his pet to get them to, essentially it was a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can talk to this animal and this animal knows all the answers.
And led me directly to the front door.
Yeah. And so when you're writing a story and you need to get from one, you're like, how does the character get from here to here? It's a cheap way to do it. It's a very cheap way to get your characters. It's an unnatural way to get your characters from A to B. And they throw in action to kind of distract you from the fact that really
it did happen
they
quick though.
Stumbled on the answer magically without doing anything themselves, and now they're where they are. So that was the biggest issue I had.
And that's not even like a big.
It wasn't, because it was funny.
Bad thing. Yeah,
it was funny, and there was comedy and there was action at the time that story was taking place. It was just I just wish there was more of a natural way of them getting to his mother's village instead of just
like literally driving in the front door.
And like it'd be like, oh, I'm looking for treasure, and someone's like, hey, I have the treasure map here for you, and you're like, wow, thank you, stranger. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, no problem. And then
marks the spot.
Yeah, and then if you follow this, you'll find the treasure. So like your character didn't have to do anything at that point, right? Someone gave him the treasure map and told him exactly where to look.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, whatever. My second smaller detail is I just wish that they were at the village longer than a day to learn
everything.
They were there for a day.
How to shoot.
They were there for one day.
Yeah.
And they learned everything.
The history of
all of it.
Yeah.
Teach me how my mother does that.
That's funny because I guess you caught that and I didn't know how long. I know it wasn't long.
It was no more than 2 days. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a long time at all.
Yeah,
It was a day and a half, and then
and I could see Shang learning stuff quicker.
sure, yeah,
Aquafina learned how to shoot a bow and arrow in 48 hours.
yeah,
to absolute perfection.
and come on,
And again, it's not a bad. It wasn't like
she's not. But the thing is, like, she's not a trained warrior, right?
no.
Why was she the one that looked up and decided to shoot at the beast?
That was my biggest thing.
Yeah, like
and again, it didn't kill. Like it was
did it
like
right.
a minor
It just
thing.
assisted. It was.
But
like,
I'm like, if that was the one that took it down,
you were gonna lose it.
I was gonna have a panic attack.
So you were like, no.
Yeah. So like once it's like, oh, it
Yeah,
helped
exactly.
out. Whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
But I was like, she just shot a bow to perfection.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even because it was
wasn't.
Aquafina. It could have been anybody.
Right.
It could have been one of the warriors that came in from the dad and been like, oh, you were the one that did it?
Yeah.
Like
That's what I mean. Like I feel like everyone would have been like, let's all turn our bows over here.
Yeah, and if
and
everyone
then
was like,
fire.
yeah, and then we all did it. I would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
But which brings to my biggest gripe.
Okay.
And I'm getting shit on by everybody for this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People are not happy with me.
About your gripe about the movie?
my gripe about the movie.
All right. What is it?
God, there's even no correct way to say this. And it's not a gripe. I didn't.
You're about to upset some people?
I've already upset a lot of people.
What?
I'm trying to think of a way to say it.
I'm so anxious.
The final battle was too big. Like there was all of a sudden there's two ginormous dragons fighting. Like, okay, I could believe like the things that were coming out. I liked the battle more between the village people and the people coming in. But then all of a sudden, two dragons came out of the ground and out of the walls, and now there's a kaiju fight. And again, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed the fight. The fight was fun.
I could see that.
But all of a sudden, there's two beasts.
I understand.
And he's riding a dragon. He's riding a dragon like a horse. And I liked it. It was very cool. I enjoyed it. I was taken by storm with it.
I understand what you're saying.
It had happened out of nowhere to me.
But right. Yeah,
so they came in and they were attacking, and him and his dad were fighting, and then he was riding a dragon.
And
that came from the sea.
That's a great point, though.
I was like, whoa.
Like, where did that part come from?
Yeah, so again, it wasn't bad. And that's why I don't want to say it's a gripe.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It was awesome. He was riding a dragon. How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
But there was nothing that led you to that point that made you... there's no build up to that.
That's how I saw it.
There were like dragon stuff throughout.
Yeah,
but there wasn't
to me, it's like now it's his pet and he's like riding it.
Yeah, he's in control of it somehow.
Which again is super cool. It's a superhero movie. It's a big blockbuster.
Yeah.
I get all that. But they were fighting the warriors on the beach, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he's riding a dragon. And then now the dragons are fighting and sucking the soul out of. I'm like,
dang.
Whoa! I'm like, whoa.
Well,
I was like, that's how I felt in I was like, I missed something.
Because you were like, I'm
like, whoa.
I missed the build up.
Two dragons sucking the souls out of each other.
I definitely don't.
And that's just kind of a lot for me at the moment.
I agree that I don't think that there was maybe a good enough explanation that was going to happen as a result of their actions. But so I was okay with the dragon behind the wall. Because they were warned about a beast,
and that was a history thing,
right?
I just wasn't expecting two dragons to fight like pit bulls.
But when they were explaining the story, and again, it's because I don't think the movie said, and then this because I don't think they said this dragon came out, and this water dragon is the one that pushed, the beast in, right? So visually, they were probably telling us there were two dragons involved, and when they were,
it was all, I guess I have to change the way I'm phrasing it to people. I was taken by storm with
it seemed like
two dragons all of a sudden in a kaiju battle,
right?
And I was like, whoa.
And again, my biggest gripe with that is just that they were there for a day. And now he's riding a dragon.
Yeah.
Right. And like, that's my biggest thing is I'm like, I feel like you have to learn how to do that, Sean. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't think that you could just do that.
And he did.
And he did because.
But again, I loved the movie so much, and
Yeah.
I think that's why, because that's how I explained. I was like, oh, it's this, and then the final battle happened, and it just was.
And it was too big.
Yeah, and it was like, and the people like, what do you like? It's too much action for you, too much fun. And
You're
I'm
like, no,
guys, hold on. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm done with this guy. I was like, sorry, everybody.
I don't agree with you at all.
And again, that's not what I'm saying. I know
what you're saying.
In this movie.
I know what you're saying.
If you would have said, if somebody would have came out, just like, dude, the dragon battle was crazy.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, in Shang Chi, there's a dragon battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, yeah, dude, it's in Shang Chi.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, did you go out of the same movie?
Right.
I don't think you're talking about.
You're like,
the same movie.
Like, I don't recall anything about a dragon whatsoever.
I don't think you saw Shang-Chi. I think you saw another movie you're talking about a dragon battle.
And I don't know. Did you ever see Raya in The Last Dragon?
I didn't, no.
No? It's just funny because Awkwafina is the voice of the water dragon in that movie. And this dragon is the water dragon. So it's like so they share.
Confirmed.
They share similar
Yeah.
It's in the same universe.
The same universe.
But it was just funny because it was sharing the same universe, and I think I got like a little kick out of that when I was watching the movie because I was like, oh hey, Awkwafina was the voice of this water dragon in the animated Disney movie, which is hilarious.
Again, it's not a complaint. I
know what you're saying. I mean, movies have to earn.
Yeah.
Whether we like to admit it or not, they have to earn things, right?
But on that note, probably one of my favorite MCU movies out of the 25 or whatever has been out. This is something that I'm gonna revisit and come back to. Yeah. So again,
Me
like
too.
I said, it probably wasn't a complaint. Is it, like you said, we haven't seen some of these movies in 10 years. Is it better than Iron Man 1? I have to watch Iron Man 1 one more time. I liked it because it wasn't a superhero movie.
I agree.
Iron Man 1 was a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It was about a superhero that saves the day.
Yeah. And he was a superhero.
And he was a superhero.
Yeah.
In a super suit with super money and super cars.
Yeah.
And Shang-Chi wasn't.
He wasn't, yeah.
It was an origin story about a guy that is gonna do all those things.
Because
that is gonna save the day.
Yes.
That'll have his super suit.
Yes.
That'll be part of the Avengers.
I was just gonna say that. Like, it wasn't even like him saving the world. Well, I mean, I guess he is.
It was, yeah.
But it's like it was contained to his family, right?
To him, about him.
Yes, it was all about him.
Is he gonna be a part of the Avengers? Yeah, because he is.
Yeah.
Is he gonna save the day? Yeah. Is he gonna get a suit upgrade and a ring upgrade? Yeah. All that's coming on the way. But we didn't see any of it. And I'm okay with that.
It was a great origin. Well,
it was a great origin story.
And I like that. I like it when in a superhero origin story that he earns it at the final form. Yeah, he earns it at the very end.
And that's, to me, all fine and dandy.
Yeah.
So it was one of the better MC. I know this. So now they call them top shelf or tiers.
Oh yeah,
top tier, mid tier, low. It's a top tier for me.
It's absolutely a top tier.
Agreed. It's in the penthouse.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. I agree.
It's in the penthouse.
I didn't expect it to be. I was
I
expecting.
don't know. I had no idea.
I was expecting mid building floor suites.
I had no idea
that everyone had access to.
Black Widow was in the parking garage. Of the building.
You watch Black Widow in the elevator.
Yes.
As you're moving from floor to floor.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you do. It's
up there with some of the greats.
Yeah, it was. And
it's the first one.
It's a great. I'm so excited. Again,
it's the first movie.
Director, writer, producer, all of it. The combination.
Everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, it was just a great execution of a well-written story with some great actors.
Keep all of them. Keep all the actors.
Every single one of them.
I like the sister. We didn't talk about the sister a lot.
Oh my gosh,
but
dude.
She was phenomenal. I want a shirt of her.
Phenomenal.
I want to be her.
I know.
I want her. I want her business savviness.
Yeah, I want to lead the 10 rings.
I want to be like, yo, let me show you how to run a business.
Fantastic.
And she could do it. You want me to kick your ass at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like her story. I mean, the movie has a lot of rich story that's not told as like the sister who is like,
what happened to her for all that time?
Yeah, because you could tell a whole movie about her as a little girl, not, falling into the feminine role forced by her father.
Yeah.
And she's like, hell no, I'm breaking out of that immediately. And she did. And she picked herself up and she kicks everybody's ass in this movie.
Process,
yeah. And I thought she was so badass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who? Like, seriously, go down the list. Name me one awful character in this movie.
I even liked the club guy.
Yeah.
He's like, comedian? You signed it, bro. Oh, no. The guy on the bus was funny, too. But the guy when they got to the club.
Yeah, the guy.
was like promoting the
guy.
Fights.
Yeah, he's a comedian. In real life.
Oh, is he? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know who he was. I just liked his character.
No, he's a comedian in real life.
But I like the guy on the bus. That was like.
That was hilarious. That was
But again, the humor of it fit into the situation.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
someone would do that. Like,
yeah. Exactly. And that's all it was. Someone like, these guys are going to like.
Yeah.
Did
he's
it
just streaming. He's just live streaming.
Did it so perfectly. And
hilarious.
I liked everything. I had a fun time.
Go down the list. Everyone who had a line in this movie, go down the list.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'll fight anyone who says anyone did a bad job.
No. Everybody was on the same page, and that's why.
Yeah.
And I think about it like sports. All right, you just won the championship.
Yeah.
Bring everybody back next year.
Yeah. Nobody
retire. Switch directors. Yeah. Don't switch writers. Maybe you could bring some. You'll have to probably bring somebody on new because the dad died. The mom's like things changed, so you have to add characters.
Well, he's probably gonna get incorporated into the MCU over these next few
that's
films,
totally fine. But keep the good team you got going.
Yeah.
Because you have success. There's no reason to switch it up.
I completely agree. Don't
I'm
don't
excited.
mess with the formula.
I'm excited for what's next, though. It'll get a sequel.
Yep. It will, and it should, and I can't wait.
I'm excited. I'm ready. I had a question for you.
Okay.
And I think, I had it way before we planned on seeing it. So it's not like after. I'm like, I'm going to ask Sam this question.
All right.
This was way, way long ago.
All right.
Would you, and I couldn't ask you until you saw the movie, but would you rather seen this as a streaming show or as a movie?
Oh, yeah. But you know my answer now. Yeah. This had to be, we saw it in IMAX.
100%.
And it deserved every inch of that screen. I mean,
and again, this was when the streaming shows were happening.
Right,
and
right.
Loki's happening.
Would I have been happy if they did day and date release stuff, right? No.
Again, so at the time, this is only can be a movie.
Only in theaters.
100%.
Only in theaters.
But I was thinking at the time, I was like, well, I don't know anything or care about Shang-Chi. You could have made it a streaming show.
That goes back to my original point of like, I didn't know that they were throwing everything at this movie.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But now coming out, my question from 4 months ago is not a relevant question.
Right.
But that was the main one. That now we know.
But
that was my main one. I was like, should it have been a streaming show?
Needs to be in theaters.
It has to be 100%. Now you can make this a good trilogy.
Yes. Yeah. Just keep it going.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Full steam ahead.
I'm all on board.
All right. What do we got next? So, we saw this movie, and it's so funny when you and I watch movies.
Yeah. We'll do this one quick.
It's a quick one because they haven't in the past. But what's funny about us watching movies sometimes is because we know we're going to talk about it at some point, we say nothing to each other.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah, I know. I think it's hilarious.
Because everybody, and I love the reputation of being the movie guy now, because people will like text me like, hey, like, what do you like? I'm waiting to see what you tell me and I'm like, first of all, don't do that.
Yeah, you're like,
I will tell you what I thought.
That is too much pressure.
But somebody came to me and was like, hey, should I see Shang-Chi? I was like, 100%. I was like, okay, cool. If you told me it wasn't worthy, I wasn't gonna do it.
You're like,
and I'm like, listen,
that is too much weight on me.
And I'm like, listen, bud, no, you can't.
Don't do that.
I'll tell you why in person. Thank you for your text message and your interest in my opinion. And I was like, yes, go see it, and I'll tell you why other things later.
Yeah.
And a couple people would be like, should I watch it? Like, I saw that you went to see it.
So, I don't know why we don't text each other. Like, we don't do that.
We got out of Shang-Chi and didn't say a word.
Not a word. I was
hey, have a good night. Thanks.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, we went on your birthday.
Yeah.
So it was like, I hope you had a good birthday.
Yeah. And
I'll see you later.
Not a word was said.
Which is hilarious.
And Genmo was probably like,
are they mad? Or are they like, what happened?
Something happened to the theater?
what is going on? Something I didn't understand. They said, "Oh my God," at the same time at one point.
What was that about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's so funny. So one of the movies that happened with was The Suicide Squad 2, right?
Yeah, we didn't still have it.
Again, it's so funny. Yeah, like I told you, I saw it. It's like I want you to know I saw it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk to you about it.
Yeah, which is super weird.
We'll talk later about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we're like everything. Like we could do like some of our text messages are long. So I'm like, I think we're like, we could do this, or we could just have a conversation in person about a lot of this stuff. So The Suicide Squad. I wish I did see this in theaters. Actually,
it was fun and loud.
Yeah, you saw it in theaters?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it at home
because people are like, "Don't like you have to," and I'm like.
You're like, all right.
I'm like, but it's there at home.
I know.
Like, it's there at home for free.
So I do wish that I saw it, and I had a blast with The Suicide Squad. And it's not
so murdery.
But here's the thing, and we're going to get into this conversation. So I hope this actually leads us into a different conversation, a conversation about DC in general. Because The Suicide Squad is not for everybody. If somebody came and asked, if someone said, "Hey, did you like The Suicide Squad?" I'd be like, "Oh, I loved it. I had a great time. Awesome." And they'd be like, "Oh, cool. I'm gonna go watch it." I'd be like, "Whoa. That's not what I meant."
Yes.
I didn't.
That's not what you asked me.
I am not recommending it.
You didn't ask me if I should go watch this movie.
Yeah. You said, "Did I like it?" Yes, I enjoyed this movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know what kind of movies you like. You need to tell me a little bit more about your background. This movie is not for everybody.
No.
And I completely understand someone watching this movie and hating it. And it's funny that like I
think the majority of people
would be
non-movie people
would hate this movie.
Yes.
I completely agree.
Yes.
Completely agree. You have to have a certain taste in movies and a certain tolerance. You can't just jump into an R-rated gory movie. And
everyone's like, it's a superhero movie. It sure is not.
No, it is not.
Yeah, it is not that at all.
It's actually,
but it's a DC movie.
It's an anti-hero movie.
Yeah, no, it's not about superheroes even a little bit.
And it's but again, I appreciate that. I appreciate that they got a bunch of, because the Suicide Squad is a bunch of villains, right? Yeah. That come together, and they're forced to go on a mission for the greater of mankind.
Out of the fear of being murdered.
Villains don't follow rules.
No.
At all. They do everything the worst way possible. And I appreciate that this movie shows that.
Yes.
That they're like, no, if you put a bunch of bad people together and give them a mission to do, they're going to do it the messiest way possible because that's what they do. And I appreciated that. From a superhero storytelling perspective, I appreciated that they were true to, hey, you know what? If you get a bunch of crazy people together, they're going to do crazy shit. They're going to
act crazy.
Yeah. So I'm not recommending this movie to everybody.
There's very few people I could recommend this movie to.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think that, like, most people I know, I would not.
And I... Again, got out, did my research after, and there was a lot of things that people were very upset about. And I was like, I get that.
Yeah.
I understand why you're upset about that.
And it's funny that in our brain, we could be like, I totally see it. I understand what you're saying. I still enjoyed it. But I understand.
The thing that people were so mad about, it was one of my favorite things about the movie. So I'm like, what does that say about me? Like, people are like, that was so awful that they did this, and people are enjoying it. I'm like, I enjoyed the hell out of that scene, but I understand why those people were upset.
Yeah,
to an extent, and there were some things I don't understand what you're upset about. It's a movie. It's an entertainment thing. It's like, who gives a shit?
Relax.
If it's not what you believe in or what you care about.
Yeah,
it's a movie.
Yeah,
when it tackles certain issues, that's understandable. When it's just silly, dumb, fart, joke, fun. Sorry, it's just silly, dumb, fart, joke, fun, and that's not a big thing to be.
It's like Family Guy. Like how? Like you can't.
Oh, and see, and I love Family. It's my favorite show.
But you wouldn't recommend Family Guy.
There's not a single person on this planet I would say go out and watch that show. You'll enjoy it.
When people ask you, "Oh, what's your favorite show in the whole world?" You don't go Family Guy, and you need to watch it.
No.
Even though you're like, well, it's probably Family Guy, but I can't say that to them.
I know, so I got to think of something.
So I got to think of like what's relatable to them.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
And yeah, exactly.
That's
something more prestigious. Yeah.
Which is also a show about somebody dealing and selling, making drugs.
Yeah, but
and
it's
nobody's
done
like
different. But it's done in good taste.
Yeah, but the people aren't all up in arms about that. We all loved it.
But I mean, how many times has a Family Guy episode made you go, "Damn"?
Every single one I watch.
Yeah, and you're like, I understand that some people would be upset about this. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I could see. And therefore, I'm not going to recommend this to everybody I know. So, and that's what it reminds me of. It's like, it's a movie that, yes, pushed the limits. Maybe in some places went too far on purpose.
Yeah, they did.
To try to get a rise out of people.
And
I was one of those people. Yeah. And loved it. But I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I'm very, very understanding of the critiques and the parts of the movie that had people upset.
Yeah. But it's a movie.
It's just a movie.
It's a fun time.
And guess what? Nobody really died making this movie. Everybody on set and the writers, the producers, everybody, they're all still alive. All the extras and the actors. Guess what? Nobody really got devoured by rats.
Just so you know.
It was a fake prosthetic person that was wrapped in green stuff, and it wasn't a real person that got eaten.
Just so you know, movie magic.
Yeah, that happens.
So this is so I wanted this to lead into a bigger conversation that I think I want to finally have with you, which is the DC versus Marvel conversation.
Okay.
That I have been putting off for a while because I don't think I fully understood my stance until I started watching.
You are aware of mine, or you have been aware of mine.
Like what you prefer?
Yes,
but
I think it's super well known.
I want to take this in a different direction.
Okay.
Than what I think you're probably going to say. And this came from watching Titans and Doom Patrol.
Okay. Oh, and Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm watching Titans and Doom Patrol on HBO. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
The lightning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I am having probably one of the best times in my life watching.
We have not talked about Doom Patrol, and I'm dying to talk about it. Because I have a big take on it later.
I finished episode 6.
Big take on it later.
So I do want to review probably all of it.
Yeah.
I know it's not popular. I know that like not a lot of people really get deep into it. And I was actually not planning to watch Doom Patrol at all until you told me it was good.
Neither was I.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I had zero interest. It actually kind of repulsed me by looking at the poster.
Yeah, but it's so good. It is so good.
Oh, it's so good.
I cannot believe.
I was addicted.
There's no reason that show should be good.
No,
there's no reason.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It is frankly. Like when people are but when people talk about Guardians of the Galaxy and they're like, oh my gosh, they got a tree and they got a raccoon and they made it work, and I'm like, okay, Doom Patrol is that on steroids.
Yeah.
Hey,
you want to see a blob of human skin and organs and love her to death?
Yes.
And just love her.
Would
love to have tea with Rita. Love to have tea with her.
So here's where so it was the Suicide Squad, it was Titans, it was Doom Patrol. I'm gonna mention I saw like all of these in a row, right?
Okay.
These are all very R-rated.
Yeah.
Visual media. Mm-hmm. The Suicide Squad, super R-rated, gory. Titans, right off the bat, R-rated, super gory. They cuss. There's nudity in Titans.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
In the Teen Titans, they had to scratch the name Teen Titans.
Yes, because
these are a group of
nothing teen
young adults.
I was shocked. Drugs, nudity, violence. All of it.
Yeah.
Language, right? Just across the board. Doom Patrol, Titans on steroids.
Yo, Doom Patrol is...
Titans on steroids. I was like...
I looked down a few times in Doom Patrol, and if you just finished episode 6, there's some times I was like...
Yeah, I was like, cool. Oh my God.
And then I'm like, and then I can hear it. I'm like, it's still going. It's still happening. It wasn't a flash. That thing is still going on.
Sound though, and again, I'm just the story, the acting, the effects, just oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
Okay, so this is what I'm getting at.
Okay,
this is what I'm getting at. All right. It's a very long journey to get to the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay.
DC and Marvel, are two different companies that decided to write comic books.
And have been around for a very long time.
There are many companies that write comic books, right? Many companies.
Also very important.
These are two big players in the comic book world, okay? They both make superhero characters, okay? And I think that is the reason why people like to compare them. Yeah. Because they are, and I get it, because visually you're like, they should be compared, right? They should be. It's an Android iPhone conversation that we have to have.
That's the only way I can compare it, or have other regular people understand.
And I'm here to tell you that I think that's wrong.
Okay.
I'm here to say that DC and Marvel should not even be on the same damn bookshelf. I do not think they are the same at all.
Okay.
At all. I don't think they're trying to do the same things. I don't think they're trying to tell the same stories. I don't think, maybe when they first started as comic book companies, they go way back. Okay.
1938, 39, 40, 41.
I mean, we're talking 80 plus years or something, right? 85 years or more.
Yeah, because they're doing a couple anniversaries in 2025.
Okay, so then there you go. So I get it. I get the desire to compare these things because they're the same. But that's like saying that's like you're going into a bookstore, right? And you're like, hey, I'm going to compare this recipe book to this sci-fi book because they're both books, right? So people are like, but they're books.
Yeah.
But they're both words on a page that are saying something to me. So we should compare them. Okay. We feel like we have to compare DC and Marvel because they're both books.
Which I hate doing.
That have words on them that are telling stories. And I get it. People are like, but they're the same genre. So we have to. No. These are two different things. Enjoy them both. Yeah. They both serve a purpose. They're doing different things. Okay. DC is not for the same. I would argue if you enjoy Marvel, you could probably cross over into DC. But it's not the same thing. People want to compare it, but they live on their own. And you can enjoy them both.
I do.
Different times in your lives.
I do.
You watch Titans for very different reasons than you watch Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Very different reasons.
Yes.
You watch Shang-Chi during the day and you watch Titans at night. They're just...
You have soda and popcorn with one and whiskey and a cigar with another. Like
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's a great example when you're watching these visual mediums, right? You're not in the same mindset. And that's why I think they're so different. That's why I'm saying we don't compare them, because you're not even in the same mindset when you're watching these things. If you're having a soda and popcorn, that's very different than whiskey and cigar. But yet people want to compare them. And I'm here to say, no, we need to stop this DC Marvel debate. And we can get into Android iPhone on another day.
Oh, you want to hear some stuff? Yeah, we'll do it another day.
But I do not believe that we should compare these anymore.
Nope.